Welcome to another judge presentation of the Legal Challenge, and today with me, joining from where actually? Is it Larnaca? Is it Nicosia? Is Yiannis Karamanolis?
Yes, it's in. I'm in Nicosia right now. The office is in Nicosia, but I'm from Larnaca, as you know.
Okay, so that's for me. That's the second connection to Cyprus in one day. Not bad to be in Nicosia or in Cyprus during the lockdown, I would imagine. Did you enjoy the year?
It was a fantastic year, full of COVID. We were able to go everywhere. We celebrated Christmas, and we're about to celebrate Easter with many people. No, this was a joke. It was really a very strange year. A lot of people. The good thing is a lot of people buy books and play games, but otherwise we have a lot of problems. Cyprus is doing well in handling the pandemic, and we hope that we will be able to have some Easter celebrations soon, because our Easter is in 1 month from now, and so far we have vaccinated people above the age of 61. They say that we are going to have the 60% of the population vaccinated by June. So hopefully we will leave this behind us and we will be able to continue with our lives. And we will be able to travel to Vilnius for the conference in September.
We start vaccination for the general population from June. Most of my friends have vaccinated already because they're either doctors or they're frontline exposure. And now also the parents of my friends are starting their vaccinations. And of course, everyone wants one vaccine and not the other.
Yeah.
Which is, I find it good. It's like the moment you ask which lawyer do you prefer, people start choosing a lawyer. If you have only one, then people say, should I use a lawyer? Maybe I'm smart enough. And so it's the same situation with the vaccine. So
it's a debate. It's a debate instead of doing the vaccine, which vaccine to choose. And you are right that, I liked your comment in the Twitter about that, because it is very true. It is true. And now the debate is about choosing Pfizer instead of AstraZeneca and all this stuff, instead of being vaccinated or not, and instead of having a debate about the civil freedoms and our freedom and our right not to be vaccinated. So,
we have that in Spain. Yeah. We have people who say that the vaccination passport is the bad thing, the good thing, and when I send my kids to kindergarten, I have to prove that they're vaccinated against all this other things, so it's nothing really new. So tell me more about your background. You are a professional lawyer who goes to court. Is litigation a part of what you do? And are you practicing in Cyprus or in some other jurisdiction? And what is your professional standing?
Yeah. First of all, before introducing myself, I would like to say that I'm very happy for being part of the Legal Challenge. And for being in the judge panel for the second time in a row. It's a great honor, and I'm very grateful for that. I would also like to congratulate, because I understand that the teams will see this video, and this introduction is for the teams. So I would like to congratulate all the teams that participated, and particularly the teams that made it to the semifinals. I know from last year that it was a very tough and challenging competition, and as you know, and all the judges know, and the people in the industry know very well, reaching the semifinals confirms that you have a solid understanding of the legal issues that are relevant to the gaming industry. So now about myself. I'm a dispute resolution, as you said, I'm a dispute resolution lawyer, and I have been practicing law in Cyprus since 2009. I got my law degree from National University of Athens in Greece, and an LLM in commercial and corporate law from Queen Mary College of the University of London. And before establishing my own firm, I served as a partner in the dispute resolution department of another firm in Nicosia, another big firm in Nicosia, which is also involved in the gaming industry.
So when you say dispute resolution, what exactly does this mean? Does this mean
litigation and arbitration? Okay. Litigation and arbitration, yes. So I go to court, as you said in plain words. We go to court and we litigate on contracts, on dispute relating to contracts, commercial agreements, contentious aspects of intellectual property. I will come to that in a few minutes. I will try to highlight some examples of the practice of our practice. In August 2019, I took the decision to establish my own law firm. Now we are a boutique firm specializing in commercial and corporate litigation and arbitration, as I said before. I have a particular interest in the information technology sector and the gaming industry, and I try to provide specialized advice to publishers, developers, entrepreneurs, investors, innovative companies. And I say that I try to offer specialized advice because, as you know, the market in Cyprus is very small. So we cannot concentrate specifically to the gaming industry, and we cannot even specialize in the tech sector specifically. The legal market is very small because Cyprus is very small.
So to get some numbers out there, like what is the biggest, by headcount, what is the biggest law firm in Cyprus?
Let's say the biggest law firm in Cyprus, if we were in the US or in the UK, you would say that it's a very small office. It's about 50 lawyers.
And how is it, so when we spoke to Vlad from Russia, we found out that most of the bigger firms in Russia, they are part of the international firm network.
Yeah.
And a part of it, the reason for that was that when the law firms were getting established in the 90s, it was fairly easy for, let's say, White & Case or Dentons to come over, Salons, and just open an office bringing all the know-how. This is how you build clients, this is how you organize your work, and so on and so on. So, and now they have national Russian law firms growing up, but it's just the beginning. So for you guys, do you see a lot of international law firms having offices in Cyprus, or it's mostly local firms?
Oh, exactly, because the problem is that Cyprus is very small and the legal market is very small. So we don't have international firms here. Even the big offices that I referred to before, they are usually full service firm, but local and usually family run. So they are established they were founded, let's say 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Now they got bigger, but they are still family run, and they are full service firm with a lot of lawyers, but they are not international. They cooperate, and we cooperate a lot with many firms because we have a lot of cross-border dispute in Cyprus because of the Russian companies and the tax regime. We have the favorable tax regimes. We have a lot of foreign companies here, which relocated in Cyprus, actually. And therefore, we have a lot of cross-border disputes. Therefore, we litigate a lot on cross-border and cross-jurisdictional matters, but we don't have international law firm. And as you know, we don't have, for example, DLA Piper Cyprus. They have, what happens in practice is that the client usually hires an international law firm, which specializes, let's say, in the gaming industry and this kind of disputes. And it also hires, either directly or through the international firm, local litigators who are able to advise and assist the team from a Cypriot law perspective.
And when you said that you graduated from Athens in Greece. Yeah. Is there any, so first of all, is the law in Greece similar to law in Cyprus? Mm-hmm. And second, is there any synergy between, let's say, having huge Greek law firms, having a representative office in Cyprus, or it's not really happening?
It's not really happening because I would say because the legal system in Cyprus, first of all, is a mixed legal system. We are a common law country, the private, but we have civil law as well, civil law tradition as well. as far as public law is concerned. So for private and procedural law, these are based on English common law, and this is why we have a lot of people studying in the UK. However, public law is based on civil law, and because of this, and because of the tradition, the common culture we have, the same language with, and the bonds we have with Greece, a lot of people also go to Greece and to Greek universities. Now we also have local universities who specializes and teach Cypriot law instead of English law or Greek law, which is the case in UK and Greek universities. So obviously there are schools that are more reputable than others, but I would say that where you studied is not really important from a litigation perspective to choose a litigator, because I feel that you have the same saying. There's a saying in Cyprus, and I believe in many countries, that you have to choose a doctor who is young and enthusiastic and energetic, but you have to pick a lawyer that is seasoned and experienced. I'm not sure if you have it in Lithuania or in other countries, but this is what we say. So we prefer experience over qualifications. Obviously, if you have somebody who is with many qualifications and you are not in trouble, then obviously you will have time to train him, and you know that this candidate, this lawyer, has a very good potential. But the problem is that you pick a lawyer, you choose a lawyer, and you involve a lawyer when you are in trouble already. So you prefer someone with experience.
Well, I mean, this is one of the biggest goals for creating the community and getting the game studios involved, is for them to meet lawyers before they're in trouble. So not to go to surgery and just Google and say who's the best at the knee surgery, but to actually be in the position where you can call a doctor or call a lawyer and get the advice. And as we discussed earlier, there is a lot of experience from dispute resolution that can help you be a better contract lawyer. And it happens because you see contracts go to court. You see people dispute things that they've put in the contract, and then you go back to a new contract and you write it thinking about what can go wrong, how does it go wrong, and how does it stand up in court, versus someone who just does the contract and, you know, I hope for the best, and this is how the parties should behave, and then
it's like marriage. It's everything good at the beginning. It's a contract. All contracts and all partnerships, when you sign them and you start them, you don't start saying or thinking what if something goes wrong. But this is what you should do. And even though we are litigation and dispute resolution lawyers, my advice is always that you have to involve not only a corporate lawyer, not only the internal legal teams, but also an external litigator from the outset at the pre-litigation stage, because you will find it's more efficient, and you minimize your risks, and even you make the contracts more favorable to you. For example, if you involve a litigator to review from a litigation perspective the commercial agreements, the due diligence documents, the shareholders agreements, and as I said, the gaming industry in Cyprus is very small, and it is true, and we cannot deny that the internal legal teams are more sophisticated in this industry, and they know a lot more about the industry and about games rather than the external litigators. However, I would say that involving a local litigator, in addition to the sophisticated internal teams, it will be very beneficial for these companies involved in the gaming industry.
When you litigate, which language do you mostly use? Is it English? Is it Greek? Does it depend on the terms?
Yeah, it depends. If we are before the Cypriot courts, then we have to litigate in Greek. But as you know, these disputes usually contain arbitration clauses, and therefore the procedure in arbitration proceedings is conducted in English.
And in your experience, the digital hearings that we had this year, is there any different? Is it easier or harder? Do you find that it changes the landscape? Like, would you choose digital hearings if you could in the future, even when you can go back to visiting normal courtroom?
Well, my experience is that even though some things can be done virtually, and we have to learn from the COVID era and proceed with some virtual, let's say, proceedings, and to make it part of the court life and our lives and our clients' life and our professional lives. I don't really like conducting hearing virtually, because it's not the same to cross-examine a witness through Zoom. Even though, and for the judge or the arbitrator, it's not the same, and you cannot see all the reactions. You don't know, obviously, at the beginning, you tell the witness to show you the room and to confirm that he's alone in the room, but you don't know if he has notes, if someone else enters the room, if there are many notes there, and you don't see the full reaction, so you cannot determine whether this witness says the truth or not. So even though we can pick some proceedings, let's say some procedural things in arbitration or in the court proceedings, I believe that the main hearing should be still conducted in person.
And for the teams that will compete in front of you, so at the last challenge, you saw the real life courtroom and you saw the teams, you could see their body language, standing up, I don't know, being emotional, I don't know, losing it, finding it, everything. This year you will look at the Zoom screen. This year you will look at the, whatever the mugshot will be. What would be your advice to the teams? How they should, if they should, change their approach to this hearing as a judge?
I think over Zoom they have the ability to study more, and maybe the winner will be the winning team will be the team who studied more and it's best organized, rather than the best oralist. So the teams have the ability to prepare well for the Zoom hearing. We don't see all the reactions. We don't know if they have notes. And I believe that the winning team will be at the same time a team who understands the industry, who has a solid understanding of the legal issues pertaining to this industry, but it will be at the same time the team who was prepared, who was well prepared in advance.
Okay, so you think it more or less equalizes the field in terms of who can be more dramatic, and it's going to be the team that knows the substance better that is at the front.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And when you're looking at the recent graduates of law schools in Cyprus, is there interest? Like, what is the typical career of someone who has a Cypriot passport and then goes to study, let's say, in Nicosia, or maybe they go to Athens, or maybe they go to London? What typically, how does the career develop? Are they looking to join a Cypriot firm for a few years? Are they looking for an international company or a firm, and they would like to stay and work in Switzerland or in Vienna or somewhere else? Like, what is a typical aspiration in your experience of a Cypriot law student who just graduates?
Well, there are law students, graduates who after they graduate want to join a litigation firm or an international firm. So, for example, they may choose to be in the internal legal team of a big company in Cyprus, let's say one of the big four, Wargaming or another big company in Cyprus. However, if they like going to court, then definitely they will have to join. They will have to make their training for 1 year in a law firm, and then they will have to join a law firm, because otherwise they will not get hired by a law firm to go to court. Because for going to court and for litigation, experience is very important. For example, if I would like to have to hire a litigator in my firm, I wouldn't prefer someone who was in an international legal firm, as an internal legal advisor of an international legal firm, or someone with a PhD. I would like to hire someone who has 3 years of experience or more in litigation in Cyprus or in litigation before the UK courts, because, as I said, the procedural and private law are almost the same with the law in the UK. So even if someone has a PhD or he has worked in a bank or an insurance company as an internal legal advisor for many years, probably I would prefer someone with 2, 3, or 4 years of experience as a litigator or in other arbitration proceedings, because it's totally different to be a litigator rather than being just a lawyer, internal legal advisor, or an internal legal in a bank or an insurance company.
How competitive is the legal field? Is it, let's say you've got 50, 100 people graduating every year? Is there enough jobs for everyone? Are they motivated? Is it you have to be really good to get hired by a law firm, or everyone needs a lawyer in Cyprus and there's not enough people?
Well, in Cyprus and Greece, we say that there are always place for lawyers, because everyone goes to court, even for small disputes. Even with your neighbor, when you have a problem, you say, I will go to court and you will speak to me with my lawyer. However, the problem is that we don't have just 100 of lawyers graduating each year. We have around, I think, 300 each year. So, and now that we have local universities, this number will be increasing each year. So there are not works for everyone. And the problem, as I said, is that when you hire someone, you always want someone with experience. And people who just graduated do not have experience, and they need a chance to be given a chance from someone to gain experience. But everyone is searching for lawyers with 4, 5, or at least 3 years of experience. So there is a lot of unemployment in Cyprus in relation to lawyers, and I believe that this will be increasing because of the numbers of graduations that we have from law schools.
Well, I mean, we're a little bit in a similar situation where development teams are hiring. Everyone wants someone who released at least one game, preferably 3, 4. You don't want someone who never shipped a game. You think that there is just like with you, there is a mental change. As you get to the courtroom, you see the real things, you get the decision, and you realize, okay, I mean, this is just a piece of paper, but in the courtroom, the decision is made. That's it. So for us, it's the same with launching the game. You can think you are very smart. You can think that you're a genius designer. Then you ship the game. You look how people play, and then you're like, okay, I need to protest this. So everyone wants people with experience, but there's not enough of those. At the same time, there's a lot of young people who have never shipped a game, never went to the courtroom, and so that kind of depends.
They didn't have the chance. If you don't give the chance to someone to go to court or to gain 1, 2, 3, 4 years of experience, then how he will be or she will be experienced. So unfortunately, we don't have enough demand for people who just graduated. But this is why qualifications is important, because even though someone will hire someone with experience, if you have good qualifications and you come from a reputable university, you will have an advantage, but an advantage between those who are not hired. So you are above them in the list.
Before we wrap this, do you think what is specific to the games industry in your dealings? You have clients from different areas, and among them you have video games clients. So is there a difference to this area? Like, what did you find the most challenging, for example? Because you take an insurance dispute, you take a city dispute, and then you move to, let's say, a pure technology dispute, privacy, and then you have, let's say, a contract dispute in the video games industry. Is there any difference? Is there a lot of substance that people need to know or process in the background?
Yes, it's totally different with gaming industry disputes and let's say with the tech disputes, because as I said, these are disputes that they know how the internal legal advisors and the people involved in this kind of jobs and this kind of industry know a lot more than the lawyers. The external lawyers, I'm talking about the external lawyers, of course, not the internal. The internal legal advisors know a lot more than the external lawyers. And you have to understand how the industry works in order to be able to evaluate legally the legal aspects. So you have to share the enthusiasm, the passions of the people involved in this area, in this industry. At the same time, there are some let's say some terms and know-how that it's not easy to understand without being involved in this industry. So it's totally different. And the problem is that in Cyprus, as I said, we do not have this. The legal market is very small. Even though we have some clients from the gaming industry, we cannot concentrate to this industry, and we cannot compete with larger offices that do only this thing and they litigate and they advise only on this industry. So it requires a lot of reading, not only legal reading of the underlying legal issues of the industry, but a lot of reading and studying to understand what these people do and what they mean and how personal it is for them. And my experience from these disputes, it's that it may be business, but at the same time, it's totally personal for them. And this happens a lot with intellectual property cases and with cases that we have a breach of confidentiality, breach of competition agreements, non-disclosure agreements, and this happens a lot. So it has a personal character, a personal aspect that makes it a more difficult. But I would say that the more difficult thing is that you have to study a lot to understand how this industry works. It's not only the legal aspects.
And final question: Are you a kind judge, or are you a strict judge? What would you tell to the teams? Are you asking lots of questions? Should they expect you to be, I don't know, this grumpy lawyer judge who's not like nothing is good enough for this judge, or you're the kind of a judge who will say, "Oh, great, excellent, this is very persuasive"?
Well, I may be scary, but I'm a kind judge. I understand that there are people. Obviously, I'm quite new in the industry. I have a lot of litigation experience in this kind of disputes in relation to the legal aspects of the industry. But I enjoy a lot the conference. I enjoy a lot the legal challenge, and I try just to focus on the litigation aspects and gain myself some ideas from the memoranda and from the arguments of the teams, because And I wanted to say this, that it's clear that the cases are carefully picked by people who are involved in this industry, and they reflect real cases. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I like to hear the arguments. And what I believe is that all arguments are correct. They can be persuasive, and we are ready to hear all the arguments. So I would be a kind judge. It will be, I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, it's the first virtual legal challenge. So it will be a first for everyone. We understand the difficulties. So I believe that everything will go well. And people should not be stressed, because if you made it to the semifinals, then almost inevitably you will have a job in this industry after this is over. So by the way, we missed because we didn't have a conference in 2020. You need to compensate another 55 kilos of ice cream this year. And I hope the weather will be good in September, and we will have ice cream. Right?
It's very mellow, it's very nice, and you have all the great food still available back from the summer. So yeah, Roman was telling the same thing, that his advice is not to get stressed and to remember that you guys have qualified for the semifinals already. So just enjoy it and be yourselves, and not think too much about how you look and what you present. Just think about the matter.
And I think the virtual environment will help a lot people not to have a lot of stress, because it's more difficult to be in a room in Kempinski in front of everyone, rather than being in your office or in your home and just having a camera. And as I said, if you study the case, and if you devote enough time to your arguments, then everything will be fine.
And you can have a cup of your favorite tea at home, or coffee, or
yes, and we expect iced coffee in the real conference.
That's all noted, duly noted. I mean, we cannot wait to have it. Yeah.
Even in winter, we have iced coffee in most of us in Cyprus and Greece, and this would be very much appreciated.
Well, I mean, we have big ambitions. Whenever this happens, we'll probably do everything we wanted to do for a few years. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Lots of people. I think right now, maybe 25% of the summit attendees are vaccinated, and another 20 expect to get their shots in the next couple of months. So things are looking optimistically so far. We'll see how it goes in Europe, but we're all in the same boat. Yeah. Thank you very much, Yiannis. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at the actual challenge, and may the strongest team win.
Yes, the same. All the best to the teams. And as I said, don't worry, because you already have a job in this industry, just because you made it to the semifinals.
Thank you. And
take care all.
And now you see on the screen the law firms and the games companies that help us run the challenge and run the summit. Thank you very much. And with this, we're up, and we'll see you in the next presentation.